In the town of Okuta, deep in southwestern Nigeria, nestled between dense forests and red earth roads, the people lived under the rule of two forces: fear of the gods and fear of the police. Not the official police. No. These were the Night Squad, a rogue unit of officers turned criminals, who wore their uniforms like corset skins. By day, they were respected men, saluting elders, helping schoolchildren cross the road, and praying in church with their families. But when the sun dropped behind the ancient Iroko trees, they shed their morals like old clothes and became something else. They operated from an abandoned police barracks at the edge of town, Barracks Oko, a place even the goats refused to graze near. People said it was built on cursed land, where warriors from a long-dead kingdom had once been buried alive for betrayal. The Night Squad's leader, Inspector Dorojiye, was feared like a plague. A tall man with hollow eyes and a face marked by tribal scars, Dorojiye had once been a respected officer. But something had changed after his wife died under mysterious circumstances. Some said she had been killed in a ritual. Others whispered that he had offered her in exchange for power. After her death, Dorojiye stopped sleeping. He roamed the night, raiding homes, confiscating gold, dollars, children. No one spoke against him; those who tried disappeared. Rumors spread that he had made a pact with a deity in the forest, Elera, the devourer of justice. In return for blood and suffering, the deity gave him power no bullet could pierce. One night, a young journalist named Tunde Afolabi arrived in Okuta. Fresh out of university, bold and foolish, Tunde had heard stories of the Night Squad and was determined to expose them. He disguised himself as a preacher and moved into a nearby compound, blending in. He started to dig, interview, take photos at night with a special lens, cataloging everything: the beatings, the kidnappings, the rituals. He found a hidden file at the town's decrepit courthouse, stained with blood and smelling of palm oil and decay. It contained old reports, evidence that several police officers had gone missing, eaten, one report said, after confronting Dorojiye. The file ended with a cryptic scrawl. "There is no place a soulless spirit will go that Elera will not find them." Tunde, shaken but driven, decided to sneak into the old barracks. That night, under a moonless sky, he crept into Barracks Oko. The air was thick with incense and rot. Inside, the walls were painted in blood symbols, and the floor was littered with bones, human and animal, picked clean. He saw them, Dorojiye and his men, chanting around a fire, dressed in half uniforms, half ash, pouring gin and blood into a clay pot. Then it happened. The pot shattered. Something rose. A figure. Tall, faceless, with multiple arms holding weapons of ancient make. Elera. It smelled Tunde immediately. Tunde tried to run, but his feet were rooted. Dorojiye turned, eyes glowing red, and laughed, a deep, crackling sound that didn't sound human. "You wanted a story," he said. "Come and see how we write it in blood." Tunde was never seen again. But people say you can still hear the scratching of a pen on paper at night near the barracks. And the Night Squad. One by one, they began to disappear too. Found ripped apart, faces twisted in horror. Even Dorojiye, the last of them, was found hanging upside down from the Iroko tree at the center of town, throat stuffed with his own police badge. Since then, the town of Okuta has been quiet. But every year, on the anniversary of the pot's breaking, a fire appears at Barracks Oko. And a voice whispers in the wind, "The devourer is judging again." 6 men in torn police uniforms, as black as coal, boots echoing across the cracked clay roads of Okuta. No sirens. No headlights. Only the cold hum of death followed their patrol van. The villagers called them the night squad, but only in whispers, only behind locked doors. By day, they blended in. Smiled. Greeted. One even coached the church choir. But by night, they became something else. Something cursed. People went missing. Whole families vanished. Businesses paid security tax or burned to the ground. The town feared them more than armed robbers, more than snakes, more than God himself. No one dared question them. Until the night the journalist came. Tunde Afolabi arrived in Okuta chasing a story. A cocky young reporter with a cheap camera, a steel flask, and a belief that evil only thrived where people let it. He didn't believe the stories. Not really. Police corruption. Sure. Rituals and devils in the forest. Nonsense. He thought it was all myth twisted by grief and trauma. But then he saw the boy. 8 years old, covered in ash, wandering naked on the roadside at 2 a.m. His eyes were blank. His tongue was missing. He kept whispering one word over and over, but no one could understand it. Tunde took a photo. His camera glitched. His phone died. His flashlight turned red and refused to switch off. That night, he decided to investigate the abandoned barracks. Barracks 0. The people of Okuta called it cursed. A skeletal building buried in vines, rust, and bones. It was once a military outpost, then a police station. Now, it was a lair. Tunde broke in just past 1 a.m. The stench hit him first, like rotting flesh soaked in kerosene. He stepped over shackles, spent bullets, and something that looked like human hair braided into rope. Then he heard it. Laughter. Not human laughter. Deep. Guttural. Wet. As if something was choking on joy. Tunde hid behind a cracked wall and saw them. The night squad. Standing around a fire made of burning police reports and bloodied uniforms. Their leader stood tall in the center, Inspector Dorojoya. He wore a necklace of human teeth, eyes stitched halfway shut, lips carved into a permanent smirk. In his hands, he held a head. Fresh. Still bleeding. He spoke in a voice that sounded like it came from underground. We are beyond law now. We are fed by it. The law screams when we cut it. And the forest drinks every scream. Then the fire flickered and went black. Tunde turned to run, but the barracks had changed. The door was gone. The hallway was longer. The walls were breathing. He heard whispers, crawling through the cracks. You came to report truth. Now wear it. He stumbled into a room filled with mirrors. But in each one, his reflection did something different. Smiled. Screamed. Bled from the eyes. Laughed with Dorojoya's voice. He smashed one. Blood sprayed from the glass. His hands bled, but the mirror laughed. Behind him, a door opened. It led to the cells. There, he saw them, the missing. Strung up on hooks like meat. Their eyes gone. Their mouths sewn shut. Some were still breathing. Some were whispering his name. Then he saw himself. Naked. Hanging. Smiling. And behind him, something crawled out of the shadows. A shape made of police belts, name tags, and rusted guns. No face. Just sirens screaming where a head should be. It reached for him. Tunde woke up in a hospital. Scratched. Bloodied. Unrecognizable. The doctors said he'd been found on the road, barefoot, covered in claw marks and barbed wire. He tried to speak. But something had sewn his lips shut from the inside. They removed the thread. He screamed for hours. The article was never published. But the camera survived. When authorities checked the photos, they found only one image, a single burning van in the forest, with 6 officers standing in front of it, each with a shadow behind them far taller than their bodies. The shadows were smiling. After that night, the entire barracks sank into the ground. Like it was never there. But every year, on the anniversary of the vanishing, the people of Okuta hear boots marching through their streets at midnight. Doors lock. Candles go out. And if you're awake, you might hear a knock. Don't open it. Not unless you want to join the night squad. Kindly like, comment, share and subscribe for more African folktale.